Okay.
Welcome everyone to the November 20th, 2025 Monroe County Planning Board meeting. We have several items on the agenda today, including Bill Santos here, Mike Wiedemer, Dave Watson here, Millie Safran
here,
Tyrese Bryant
Here.
Elizabeth McDade here, Milton Picardo here. Is that right? Pichardo. Victor Sanchez. Robert Colby here. Rachel Barnhart
here,
Jeff McCann. Adrian Green. AJ Grower. Connor McMahon. Jennifer Cesario.
here,
Joe Taddeo. Here. Richard Tantalo. Here. Christina Doherty. Good afternoon. Sean Murphy. And Andy Frazier. Here. And let's see, who would like to introduce staff? Pat or Lisa?
Yeah. So a couple of you I don't know, but I think I know most of you. My name is Pat Gooch. I am the Senior Associate Planner for the county's planning division. I manage that team, including Ishan, who's on vacation today, enjoying a nice long holiday. And then, of course, Lisa Huntoon, who works for us as well and is with you every week. And then, of course, we have Josh Peterson from the law department, who is our legal aid for this board and many other things part of the planning. I think that's everyone I got, right?
Right.
Oh, sorry, that's right. We have remotely, we have Director Pat Meredith in the middle there, Deputy Director Bob Kiley, and then we have Parks Administrative Manager Ashley Long on the right-hand side there.
Welcome.
A little feedback, let me fix that.
It's Ben. All right.
There we go.
Yeah. Yes. Great. All right. Well, thank you, Pat. Thank you everyone for attending. Our first item on the agenda. The September 25th, 2025 meeting minutes. They were emailed to you. I need a motion for those, please. Thank you, Rachel.
Second.
Thank you, Robert. Any discussion with those? And just as a reminder, just because you weren't here doesn't mean you can't vote for them. So.
Oh, you're gonna have Bob to abstain.
Yeah, you don't have to. So, yeah. Otherwise, you could have a situation where minutes are never approved. So they make an exception for you.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. They are approved.
Can I jump in? I forgot to introduce Chief Information Officer Jennifer Kubel, who's also with us today.
Jennifer, welcome. Sorry about that.
Can we come up eventually?
Great. All right. Announcements and communications. I'd like to mention, I'd like to thank Andrew Hollister and Orlando Rivera. They have concluded their appointment terms. We thank them for their service and for the contributions they've made to the board over the past several years. I'd also like to welcome new board members appointed by the county legislature, Elizabeth McDade, Milton Pichardo, and Victor Sanchez. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Any other announcements from members, board members, staff? Any other communications? Hearing none, the next item on the agenda is action item 3A. It is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program and the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled AIDS Remembrance Garden Rehabilitation in the amount of $250,000. I need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tyrese. And Parks. You're up. Thank you for coming in, for zooming in.
Thank you to the board for switching the schedule around to accommodate as we have another public meeting here at 4 o'clock. So the first item here on the agenda is the modification as it was just laid out in the title of this project, the rehabilitation of the AIDS Remembrance Garden at Highland Park, is a project which is grant funded through Assemblymember Harry Bronson in the amount of $250,000. The project entails the rehab, replanting, revegetating, the review of any existing walkways and benches at the AIDS Remembrance Garden in Highland Park. The garden was originally planted and ground was broken back in 1993. The driving force behind the AIDS Remembrance Garden was community outreach and the need for families of individuals who have fought the disease of AIDS to have a place to remember loved ones lost. So the project, again, $250,000 worth of grant funds, primarily for the revegetation establishment of vegetation. The existing garden through the last 30 plus years, of course, is in a good state. We certainly keep and maintain the grounds. However, that said, an investment of this size will be able to allow us, the community partners that we will partner with to kind of spearhead the design, and the consultant to select additional plantings, flowers, shrubs, trees, and review the existing walkways and benches, ensuring that they are in well-maintained order. Happy to take any questions.
Great, and thank you. Any questions for Parks?
How big of a location is an area that you're talking about working or improving?
Thanks, legislator. That the approximately a quarter acre or less, it's relatively small.
And is this funding like a pass through to the budget? Is that how this is working?
Yes, so all grant funds through legislator member items are reimbursement. And so the county will bond the $250,000, and then we will expend those funds and then seek reimbursement after the fact.
Any other questions for Parks?
I just point out, we get approval to bond, but for a project like that, we wouldn't actually issue bonds.
Okay.
So there isn't gonna be like interest.
Because that was gonna be my next
No,
question.
no.
I understand the reason we bond it is because we get paid afterwards. And so legality, we can't spend money unless we know the source. So the bond is backup in case the state doesn't come through.
Gotcha.
Right, the authorization.
Authorization for the bond, but we're gonna pay.
But you end up not
Budgetary.
taking the bond out,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Makes sense.
Any other questions? Good questions. Thank you, Parks. So there being no other comments or questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda. Let's see, hold on. Victor? Yeah, Victor, thank you. Welcome. Let me get you in here.
Consensus, he did vote on that last measure, just. so you know.
Yes, yeah, I've got them in after action items here started. Good. Second item under action items, item 3B, is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program and the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled Seneca Park Recreation Access Improvements in the amount of $621,000. I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Rachel. Is there a second? Thank you, Richard. Get you next time. Sure. Parks, you're up again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. A bit similar to the last, but a bit different. This project was identified by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife as part of a restoration plan and environmental assessment of the Genesee River and the Genesee River watershed way back in 2019. The source of the funding comes from a 2014 settlement for damages from Kodak to compensate for environmental impacts and natural resource degradation in the Genesee River. The fishing and recreation lower Genesee access dock and deck project was identified as part of that 2019 report, again, prepared by the Fish and Wildlife. Back at that time, Parks was made aware that Seneca Park at this location was identified within this potential project. However, the State Department of Environmental Conservation stated at that time and for several years that they were going to independently move forward with the engineering and the bidding of the project. However, in 2023, DEC actually requested that Parks and the County of Monroe take on this project as they were unable to dedicate staff time to it. So as such, over the next several years, Parks worked in concert with DEC, even as they transferred their state financial system, which created more than a year or so delay, to bring the project to this point. And so as the title states, we would amend the CIP formally accepting the $621,000 for the project at the northern end of Seneca Park. The intent is to create a ADA accessible pathway to the water's edge at that location. Seneca Park Avenue in Irondequoit, there's an existing parking lot. We would make improvements to that parking lot and the trail to the water's edge, and then install a accessible dock. At this time, we're likely going to utilize the existing docking structure that we installed at Churchville Park, which has been extremely successful, which will allow for a variety of different individuals with differing needs. If you're paraplegic to, typically just wanting to go and canoe and kayak, it's a very universal docking system. Happy to take any questions associated with the project.
Great, thank you. Let's see, someone from the community had there were 5 questions from the community. Do you want me to read through them?
Sure, Chairman.
Since the 6-year CIP and current 2025 budget are being amended, what is the driving force behind the project? Was there a study or a community petition generated or something else that precipitated the amendment?
I can answer them one by one, Chairman, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
Something else, and that was the 2019 report by U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Got it. Yep. And by the way, can we respond to these questions in writing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Good. What process does the Parks Department and admin use when determining what project is important enough for a budget amendment?
The concept to accept $621,000 from the state of New York. We'll take free money anytime we can get it.
Right. Right. Is the ADA kayak launch going to be installed at Trout Lake?
No, this would be on the Genesee River.
Right. Yeah, it looks at the end of the trail that you're extending. Yeah. All right. Will the Rochester Olmsted Parks Alliance be notified of this work?
We've had conversations with the Olmsted Alliance, and luckily this section of Seneca Park was likely not part of the original Olmsted Park.
Okay.
However, Olmsted, there was a concept for access to the water's edge. So this actually fulfills part of the long-standing thought process, at least that per and from the Olmsted Alliance. So we have had contact with them, and we'll be moving forward with them in a coordinated fashion.
Great. And his last question, can we have the Seneca Park Master Plan made publicly available? I think they are publicly available, aren't they?
One version's on the webpage.
Right. Yeah,
Typically, Parks has them on their webpage,
so if we could just point them to with a link, right?
if not, we can double check with Parks and see if, and make sure it gets there.
Great. Any board members with questions for Parks? Staff? Any questions?
Time frame on completion?
Timeframe's tricky because the environmental permitting components here, also it's a navigable waterway, so we'll likely have extensive conversations with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. 27 at best.
Thank you.
And I'm just trying to picture where this is at. Is this at the end of Seneca Avenue, you said, or?
It's at the end of Seneca Park Avenue. If
Okay.
I can share my screen, if that's helpful. First navigate there. Let me see, can I do this? All right, is my screen being shared?
It's coming up.
Coming up.
There we go.
There you go.
And you see there's a map here and then the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so here's Seneca Park. There's the zoo, Seneca Park here. This is Seneca Park Avenue in Irondequoit. Totem Trail. There's an existing parking lot right here. And then a trail that goes down to a former dock, the remnants of which is still at this location at the river. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that though. I don't think so.
That's okay.
But I guess in relation to Seneca Park and the zoo, we're all the way up here at the very northern extent of county-owned parkland.
Okay. Great. And have the neighbors, so I'm assuming people will get access along Seneca Park Avenue to the parking to get down there. Have the neighbors in that vicinity been notified, or will they be notified?
Given a project of this size, we certainly already have contacts with many of the residents at that location, given the trail that runs in their backyard. As we move through the design, we will absolutely have conversations with any homeowners that are directly adjacent. I guess for clarity, the parking lot is already established there. A lot of folks use that to park and then, walk through the trails, the extensive trail system at Seneca Park. We're likely not going to increase it in size, at least at this time, within the scope of this project. We certainly want to make sure that there's improvements made drainage wise at that location.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Parks?
Since you haven't had it engineered, how did DEC or you come up with a figure of 625,000, I think is the number?
That's a good question, legislator. Going through the original restoration plan and environmental assessment that U.S. Fish and Wildlife put together, that sum is directly reflected in those documents. Given the prior project that we did at Churchville, it was a lot easier access-wise. We didn't have any trail or grading work to be done there. We believe that the sum of 621 will be able to produce the project. How they came up with that figure pre-COVID, it is unknown.
Okay, because the cost of doing construction has changed drastically from 2019 to today.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason I asked that.
You're 100% right, legislator, and given the project costs at Churchville, we do think that the value of 621 will be sufficient for the project, and ultimately that'll be the direction to the engineering firms. This is the maximum funds for the project.
A follow-up question. Do you know off the top of your head approximately what those canoe docks at Churchville cost? I know I've seen them. You did a nice job.
Approximately. $200,000, 230. Legislator, we can get you the exact figures. I don't want to speculate. I
Okay.
know we originally thought that to be a $500,000 project, but it came in well under that figure. So I can get the exact number for that project. I can't recall offhand.
Okay. I was just going to use that as a comparison. That's all.
It's
Well, we got it
less.
there.
It's less than half, legislator.
$193,000,
Wow, okay.
Thanks, Andy.
821, I'm sorry, I don't know why I wrote it.
No.
But the
And what
scope,
year was that? That was
Yeah.
2023?
That started in September 2024.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
We approved something in 23 probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, then I give some hope for getting it done.
Right,
Because
right,
it's-
right.
But there's a lot of work to get down there though.
Yeah,
That trail is just, not wheelchair or anything. It's just a dirt trail, is it not?
Currently, it's just a dirt trail, and the intent would be to make sure that it's ADA compliant, so likely a bunch of switchbacks. So thus the increase in dollars. And I wanted to say 200,000, I just didn't want to be wrong. So Andy, I really appreciate the assist there, sir.
How much grade differences are there? I've never been down that part.
Feet, multiple feet.
During construction, how much of this will be shut down? So you said you have an existing lot that'll need to be repaved and all that. I think you had that in there, and then, but so that'll be shut down for the paving work, but people apparently use the other trails. Will they be able to still use those trails?
We would hope so, Chairman. We're a bit early until we can kind of really focus on what those impacts, the scope, scale, and extent of the grading work. I think survey would be the first thing to do to better understand the limits of the project. So I think it's easy to say we would want to minimize disturbance to any existing trails and ensure that, the general public can continue to utilize the network on site.
Great. Any other questions for Parks? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the ayes have it. Thank you, Parks.
Thanks, everybody.
Another meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice job. You had another meeting at 4, I understand, so good luck.
Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody.
Next item on the agenda is item 3C. That is to amend the 2025 capital budget to increase funding for the project entitled ERP System Replacement Project by $400,000 from $12,600,000 to $13 million. And I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Rachel. Is there a second? Joe. All right, and Jennifer, you're up.
I'm
Thank you.
actually going to send it over to Jennifer. Jennifer is the project sponsor for our ERP replacement project, so I'll let her talk to it, but obviously I'll be here for any additional questions.
So really what we're doing here is moving funding from one cash capital fund to another cash capital fund. And the reason we want to do that is because in the accounting world, we like to keep a project all together in one fund, so we don't have auditors show up, we don't have, trying to find where we paid dollars out of, and it's all together so that when we capitalize the asset, it's all in one place so we can depreciate it in one area. It's really all we're doing here. I mean, the cost of the ERP project is being increased slightly due to an extension. That's really about making sure that payroll, in light of some of the stuff that's going on in the community, we want to make sure HR and payroll is absolutely correct before we go live. So that's really what that is all about. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, could you talk about the ERP system and what it's doing?
Oh, sorry. So really, this is all the county's financial, all the purchasing, anything to do with work orders, and it's also related to all the HR functions. So all of our payroll, anything to do with benefits, is all included in the system.
And you had come in and presented this earlier, right? And this is just the increase is just moving funds over from one account to another.
In IS, we have several different funds for different things, and we have them every year. They're
Yes.
refresh and ongoing, et cetera.
Right.
So funds kind of get pooled, if you will, in certain areas that we no longer need. For example, that's where this is coming from.
I see.
It was in an area that we thought eventually there'd be costs, and we just haven't had any, so there's been a little bit there. So instead of it just sitting there, moving it to a project. That's it.
I see. Do we have to delete that old project sometime?
I don't know.
in
It's
the
something that
future?
perhaps we can, it's our cybersecurity is looped in with that one for
Yeah.
some reason. And it is something that I eventually want to talk to Jennifer about,
Right.
because it's hard to predict what we're gonna want in there. So I don't know. That's.
Oh, I see.
Question.
So you still might need
you know,
that project. It might just change its scope. I
Yeah.
understand.
So it's. So
Yes.
I will defer to,
So the overall capital budget isn't changing.
Correct.
We're just moving the funds from,
And it's all cash funded, so it's not like we're borrowing money.
Okay.
So I do remember you presenting on it, but can you refresh me? Is this a new system that you're implementing?
so currently we have an ERP system from a company called SAP.
Yep.
That name's been all over the place for 27 years or whatever. It did the same thing, financials, HR, work orders, et cetera, et cetera. That's a very old system, and Workday is the new primary system for financials and HR specifically that we're going to be implementing, along with a couple, small handful of ancillary systems that are going to be going around it. And what this is going to do is basically bring a more modern ERP system that's far more user-friendly. We had a lot of pushback with SAP and it being very difficult to understand and get trained on and understand. It was just very complicated, not to mention the code was written in German. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. So this is, Workday is really kind of the leader in the ERP system right now for kind
I
of.
just wanted to make sure it wasn't Oracle.
Oh. Gotcha.
Nightmares you have? I would just add that we went out to RFP for this, we selected Workday because it was the best system for our needs. So this isn't just a sole source type of thing that we went straight to it.
Oracle was one of the potential.
I'm sure they were.
Workday went out.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Was SAP also invited or no?
Yes, but their costs were.
I see.
Just-
What other
yeah.
players? do you
Those were the
recall?
three
Those are
primary
three?
systems, but there were maybe 6 or 7 vendors that were in the
I see, yeah.
play.
yeah.
Because the vendors would come back and present the system they wanted to implement. So it was across the board, really.
Sure.
But the best value that we were able to kind of determine that would meet our needs and user friendliness
Right.
that we really wanted to accomplish for our end users. Workday went out.
is a vendor, at least in New York State or?
No. Some of their folks, I think, Well, there's a couple of different vendors. I'm trying to think if anybody's local. Brian is local.
Yeah.
One of them, but a lot of these vendors really source people from
Mhm.
many, many different locations anyway. So even if the company were located here, the people would be all over. It's kind of,
It doesn't matter, really, since you're on the subject. Do you know if any other county is using Workday?
oh. It's a good question.
Because county budget numbers work a little different than private business.
They do.
I will say that the University of Rochester uses Workday.
In the city of Rochester.
And it's pretty,
Also.
pretty
Mm.
significant.
Yeah. It's a top like ERP system. The issue with the counties across New York State, there's only a few at the level that we are of size and revenue, et cetera. So most of them it wouldn't be a good value proposition for them. We're big enough that it makes sense to have a large ERP system of this nature. That's an excellent question. I can certainly find out. Might
Just
take a
curious,
little while.
if they're,
Yeah.
similar accounting system.
Only 2 other counties, I believe it was, utilized the same level of SAP that we utilized. So just to give you an idea, a lot of them use Tyler and Munis, the vast majority.
Which are smaller systems. You don't need to get back to me. I'm okay with it.
Remind me, you had, in the conversation, we asked about, future years and maintenance, things like that, upgrades to software, and was there a package that was purchased for like the first 3 years or something? First 5 years?
That's the AMS,
Okay.
managed services. That's actually has not been contracted yet.
Okay.
It was in the RFP response, but that's coming. It's
Good.
I think it's going to be funded in January, but that'll be coming out of my operating budget.
So ERP will be updated annually. Is there a service
There-
you're paying?
So the type
monthly?
of ERP that this particular one is, it's a software as a service as opposed to like an on-prem situation.
Right,
So the updates come automatically with it.
because you're paying a monthly fee. and that's-
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
okay.
We no longer purchase a license, then have to pay maintenance.
Right.
It's part of our annual subscription. But
Understood.
there will be upgrades to the system periodically. That's just included. The AMS that I'm referring to is basically to contract with a vendor that helps take us through those processes because it's still a technological component to it and requires effort that our staff just can't, we don't have the expertise, nor do we have the extra bandwidth to do those activities, to scale up like that periodically throughout the year. So we contract to do that. We're trying to get to that point where we can do more of it and then we can pay less of it, but it's going to take time for our knowledge level to get up to the level that we can back off on that.
So this one's just the purchase for the system. And then annually, is Jennifer gonna have to have an operational budget, or you have an operational budget? Hers,
It's already in there.
Yeah.
It's already in the
Yeah.
26 proposal.
it's in there.
And we'll
So,
continue.
Yeah, okay. And so then it's not part of the CIP anymore after that until you, gotcha. All right. Any other questions for IT or accounting? Everyone's good? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the ayes have it. Any other business? I think we passed around a meeting schedule, or we have a meeting scheduled.
In email, but I'll just pass these around if anybody wants.
Okay, great. It was emailed. Let us know ahead of time if you need to be on Zoom. And then we can expect you. Also, if you can, just a reminder, they send out the invites for your calendar. If you could just reply, that'd be great. So they know who's coming. Any other business? Hearing none, our next scheduled meeting is December 18th, 2025 at the regular meeting time of 3:30. Need a motion for adjournment, please.
So move.
Thank you. And it's, all right, Jennifer and Robert, all in favor? Thank you. Have a good rest of the month, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.